money has to be spent. And as a pastor, you say, well, the pastor can be saying this, but I'm saying to you, if the weapons and the power was only in the hands of fellows like Xi and Putin and Trump, and the world would have been locked down in a state of something close to slavery. So sometimes I don't believe anyone should have weapons. I fully understand why a state will want to have weapons because everything is not level and everything is not fair. And because of that, and that's what God said to them when they told Samuel that they needed a king. And God said to them that the king will send your sons to war. And he knew that. And I want to state to you the prophecy that is being fulfilled in the Middle East. It's just not saying it is prophecy. No, no. The Bible said that when it spoke about the locusts, it will be a man hand against each other. I can ask something about an ass or something like that. This is what is happening in the Middle East. The constant now Israel, Netanyahu, and they are the same race or tribe as the Arabs, They are not Jews, They are Arabs also. They are Amorites. So it's a group of the same people that is fighting up, just as the Bible said. There will be no peace among them. They will continue to fight. So when we look at the prophecy of the grasshoppers and the locusts, we recognize that the Bible is true. All that is to show us is that the Bible said there will be no peace there, and each of them, each brother hand will be against each other. That's what we are witnessing. Um, Iran hit about 7 or 8 of their neighbors, Arab countries. And the reason for that, they had these American bases in these countries. So you find, just as the Bible said, he'll be a wild ass of a man. That's what the Bible said. And the hands will be against each other. That is what we are witnessing. That's what we are witnessing. All these prophecies must be fulfilled before the coming of Jesus. It's not just Sunday law. Anytime I hear Adventists open their mouth, Sunday law, there are many prophecies, friend. That God is warning us to show us that we can preach. You cannot preach Sunday law and win any soul. I want to tell you that. I want to say it broadly all over the world, people are hearing me saying this. The things that will win souls, when you show them the alignment of the prophecies with the word of God, when you show them about the coming of the persecution, the kings of the north and the kings of the south, immorality and fake morality. When you show them that was all those things were mentioned in the scripture, they come to more believe the word. And once they believe, they're more likely accept. A word to the wise is sufficient. Now, this morning, I want to deal with men. Men, and I want to say hello to my brother out there in Brooklyn, Brother Wayne Johnson, and all those who are tuning in to the Voice of Praise broadcast up in Queens. And I want to say welcome this morning, and we are dealing with men. I think the issue of men, that what I want to deal with, is something that is all over the world. Men are being pushed back. Men are being emaciated, and fewer men you are seeing taking control of industries and things like that. And when they do it due to nepotism. But women are moving ahead. They are moving ahead based on their own ability. They're moving ahead with great credibility. The world has taken a turn where issues that affect men are no longer carry any sort of purpose, I should say, or priority. Once it's a man's issue, it is not covered the same way that it's covered as a woman's issue. I have seen this over and over again. And when we speak about gender, gender-based violence, they are not speaking about anything having to do with men. That is thrown out there, gender-based violence, they are speaking about women issues, not of men issues. In fact, apparently men have no problem. If I listen to the talk shows and I listen to scholars and I listen to preachers and I listen to government officials, you will think that gender-based violence. And for the beginner, I want you to know gender doesn't mean male and female. It means that too. But it also means bisexual, pansexual, asexual, homosexual, a whole genre of sexuality. So when we say gender, we don't mean men and women only. Although you heard some folks that said that when Trump said there are only two genders, speaking in the abundance of his ignorance. And then one set of preachers and Christians started to praise him for saying there's only two genders. He's wrong. And you are wrong to tap into that nonsense. Gender is not a word you find in the Bible. You find male and female. The term gender was originated for the sole purpose of having to identify people's sexuality. That's why they came up with the term gender. Because when you say male and female, you are talking about sex. You are talking about the productive organs. You are talking about vagina and penis when you say male and female. When you say gender, you are speaking about human sexuality. So gender has always been a wide word. And this is my preamble. I'm opening up to Candice and Akira to say what they want.
Yes, good morning again, Pastor, and everyone that is listening. So you brought up an important concept in your preamble, Pastor, about gender-based violence. And I agree with what you said in terms of any time in church or, there's a program on gender-based violence is very oriented towards women. So can you give us an understanding then, what is gender-based violence?
All right, I'll do a quotation from the Inter-American Convention on the Prevention, Punishment, and Eradication of Violence. And they define violence against women as any act or conduct based on gender, which causes death or physical, sexual, or psychological harm or suffering to women, whether in the public or the private sphere. Now, gender violence includes rape, sexual assault, with intimate partners violence in heterosexual and same-sex partnership, sexual harassment, stalking, prostitution, and sex trafficking. This type of violence is done in some way to influence gender relation. Now, when we speak about gender, we are speaking about gender violence. We are speaking about violence that happens to you based solely on your gender. About 10, 12 years ago, about 7 guys gang raped a lesbian woman. And when they were hauled before the court on the account of rape, one of the guys said that he raped her because she was lesbian. And he felt that if she is raped, he will get her to change from being a lesbian and become a heterosexual woman. Now, once he said that, it moved from simple rape to gender because she was raped because of her being a lesbian. She wasn't raped because of sensuality, of power, or whatever, simply because she was a lesbian. It means, therefore, that any lesbian walking that day, that way, would have been raped. So it became gender-based. So gender-based is gender specific also. So when we speak about gender-based now, I have all over the world. Anytime a woman is in harm's way and something happened to her, they shout gender-based violence. But that is not so. That is not so. if a woman come into my house and try to rob me and I defend myself against this robbery, that is not gender-based violence. That is me confronting a thief. But we have brought it down to the issue. Anything happened to a woman, she slap a guy, the guy chose, foolishly so, to slap her back, and immediately some woman group or some woman will jump out, gender-based violence. That is not the interpretation I got from the Inter-American based organization. Okay?
Pastor, and with that being said, is this a worldwide concept? And who is pushing and maintaining this?
A worldwide concept of what? Gender violence or what?
Yes.
Okay. It's a worldwide concept. I am women who have suffered more in the genders. Women who have suffered more have had a lot of strong lobby for them over the years. And because of that, people are more inclined to see what there are movies where a woman will slap a man and the people laugh. But if in that same movie a man slapping around a woman, there'll be no laughter there. The producers become under serious pressure for allowing that for them to go to market. So it is there in everything that happens. And I'm not saying I don't understand why women need to be protected. They have gone through a lot. And they are the ones who face the most harm. No, I'm going to draw back on that. They are the ones who are harmed. And they're harmed because of the frame, their size, their physique. They're harmed because of that, because they cannot fight back. You ever notice that two men hardly fight? Men don't fight anymore because men recognize when they fight, the consequences are dangerous. Because they hit harder, they could knock out folks' teeth and give them concussions and the like. So you find men deal with men by shooting them. They hardly will try to strangle them because they recognize getting in that proximity with another man can be a dangerous situation to be in. So they approach it differently. But when it's come to women, a man will strangle her, he will stab, he will try to drown her in a bucket, all sorts of things that he will not attempt to do with another man. So I guess this concept, this understanding of the structure of the human body is the same over the world. Wherever you go, a woman look the same way. So because of that, the idea of gender-based violence, and I am only speaking about women, has become the norm, or I should say has become universal.
And Pastor, based on that illustration where, men versus men as opposed to men versus women, and coming out of that, then would you say is violence perpetuated against women?
Run it again for me, Candice. Run it again. I was sure.
No problem.
You lawyer and
Um,
think you could say it.
so I was based on the illustration you gave, the way that a man would deal with another man as opposed to dealing with a woman. It seems that violence seems to be more perpetuated against women, as you would have said, because of their frame and so on. Could you tell us a bit more about that? Is violence perpetuated against women?
And the answer for that is no. It is yes in the sense of the outcome. And because women are small, as I said, it is easier for someone to run into a woman than run into another man. You see, violence has a lot to do with the ability to carry it out. That means physical strength is in most cases men. Men has the physique, men has the brawn. He has what it takes to bring an end to what he starts. So the issue has to do more with the violence in the society than violence perpetuated against women. Last year in Trinidad, we had something like 367 murders. I checked and I reckon only 27. I'm not saying only in a way to come after me. I just using it as an English word to express a value system. So only 27 were women. And while I can say that this is alarming, however, 340 were men, mostly young black men. The ratio is consistent all over the globe. And most criminologists will tell you the vast majority of the perpetrators of these murders were or are men. So to say that it is being perpetuated against women, it is wrong. But when you listen to the speech on the street by the agitators and by some of the scholars, you can come to that conclusion that women are the ones who are being killed and shot and stabbed, but that's not so. That's not so. All over the world you go, the highest number of people, apart from tragedies like when Israel went into Gaza and just killed people widely and what they did yesterday morning by bomb a girls' school and apart from things like that, men are killed more. They are killed more, and the perpetrators are also men. Now, if women had the physical strength of men, few women would have been raped, beaten, and all issues surrounding male and female violence would not have been. Make no mistake, more women hit men than men hitting women. There are many women can say to you, I've never been struck by a man. But most men who may have more than 3 relationships will tell you, I have been hit by a woman. So women tend to hit, but they don't have the physique and the strength to really trouble the man who they're hitting. And then most men will not hit a woman because the idea of hitting is a form of socialization. And since most men will not have seen that in their homes, they will hardly carry out that act. But men who have seen that will do it because it's part of the socialization process to make me know that if my woman is arguing with me, I can hit her a lash because I've seen my daddy doing that. And what also I've seen that after he hit her a lash, everything quiets down. So he learned that as an act that he must put into place if he wants control of the situation here. And because, as I said, he has the brawn to do it, most likely it will end up, most likely, most likely. When I say most likely, I'm talking about which part, mostly likely, talking which part of the mostly, yeah? So when you when you see when you see that, he knows that I will come out of this unscathed. So while he will not hit another man, if his son is of age, he won't try that because he knows the end may not be as close as the beginning was. So you find he will not do it.
Pastor, as you alluded to crime in the society, city, and the numbers, especially in Trinidad and Tobago, and can I compare that to what the criminologists would say? My question to you would be, what drives crime in our society?
Well, crime is driven on the whole by breakdown in relationship. But men and women have differently constructed relationships. When these relationships break down, the outcome can sometimes be violent. These drive-by shootings and execution in bed of men are usually the outcome of relationships that have gone sour. It will not be a love relationship, but something a relationship on the block. Something has to do with drugs. Something has to do with envy. But it's a relationship that have gone sour. Something had to be a relationship on the turf. We had agreed for certain things to happen on the turf. And now you are violating that. Sometimes is a drug deal gone bad. Sometimes a money issue. You took my money, but all has to do with a broken relationship. In the case of men and women, in case of women, it's more of an intimate issue. But again, the violence in the society is demonstrated by the outcome. And it has more to do with the ability to inflict the violence than the issue of gender. I'm saying to you, I've seen women beat men, but they have the ability to do it. But I've seen women beat men, and the man did not fight back, although he had the ability to stop it. As I said again, it was something new in his whole social construct. It is something new. He had not seen that. He have not seen that. He have seen his father abuse, his mother abuse his father, and he have never seen his father reacting in any kind of violence. So when that violence is brought to him, more than likely he will act the same way. It have been taught to him that women are the weaker sex and women should not be. And some of them have plenty sisters. I have over 6 sisters. So you find I will talk out for women more than the average man who may not have any sisters. So all that has to do with socialization. Not that I'm better than the beta, No, no, no. Not that I'm better. Is my worldview is different based on how I was socialized to think. But the issue of violence in the society has to do with broken relationships.
Thanks, Pastor. I want to bring domestic violence into the conversation and ask, does domestic violence discriminate when it comes to gender?
No, 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 no. But men and homosexuals and bisexuals, I want to put all together now. In some way, they tend not to report the abuse in the same way women do. In fact, many men remain silent because they think that no point in reporting the abuse because no one will ever believe them. Men, because of how they have been socialized, and sometimes we do not really embrace how socialization plays in our behavior. Sometimes we feel we are doing this because we're good, or he's doing that because he's bad. But no, men, because of how society socialized male, they are more exposed to violence than women. They are allowed by their parents, guardians, and wives to do outdoors more often and at any hour. This allows them to be in a dangerous place more often than encounters for these relationships. What I'm saying is that men are on the outside more than women. They are asked to go out there more than women at any time. Hardly likely a mother will shake her 18-year-old daughter and say, run down by the supermarket because I just see Karen going, I want some candles. She'll only do that if the daughter is her only option. But she'll go to a younger son, 13 years, 14 years, and ask him to go. Men tend to get to go where they want, when they want. If a girl come to her mother and say that there's a bazaar or something there, I would like to go. The mother will be like, who are you going with? Why? And most likely, she'll be told no. The guy hardly likely he'll be told no. So they have more opportunities for these encounters. And because they have these opportunities for these encounters, they are subject more to violence, to drive-by shooting, to be shot on the basketball court. They are subject to that more than women. And because they are subject to it more, it happens more. And what determines their well-being? What determines their well-being is different from what determines a woman's well-being. A woman is quiet, contemplating all the stressors that she's having, and she's left alone. A guy is quiet, contemplating what has happened to him. Everyone who sees him want to know what's his problem. So men are classified differently when it's not so. They have the same feelings. They have the same desires. But it is not so. And there's a lot of myths. I want to debunk about 2 or 3 of them this morning. The first myth I want to debunk is the word tells us that men can't be victim of abuse. A man cannot be raped. Some people say, how could a man be raped? Forgetting I have sensual glands all over my body, and even if I don't want to be raped, I can be raped. I can't perform the act, although I don't want to, because there are sensual glands all over me. Myth 2, the media tells men are just the perpetuators of violence. So a man involved with a man involved with a woman chopper or something like that. I'm being graphic this morning, the chopper, something like that. They will say gender-based violence. This man, a woman chopped the man. The first question that will be asked, what he did? When the man chopped the woman, they do not ask the question what she did. They ask them, how could he? And that, and gender-based, and look at this man, walk away, and all kind of talk like that. When it's done by a woman, they ask what she did. Because as far as they are concerned, the man had to do something for her to perpetuate an act of violence. Another myth is men are not real men if they can't take it. So he said, walk away. You get in a Honda, you walk away, forgetting that psychological scars and psychological pain is as grave and something more grave than physical pain and physical scars. You see, the physical scar heal after a time. The mental scars remain, and things come back to your mind, and things you see. You are going through a photo album. Things you see. You are remembering you are paying some loan in the bank, and you remember the loan that I'm paying in the bank was not for me. And you are going through a whole series of things in your mind. So the psychological impact is continuous. And then one morning, he flips out. No, I'm not saying that these men have a right to beat and shoot women. I'm trying to explain a phenomenon to you that most of us do not seem to understand. That's why we come up with this theory. He had to learn to walk away. Fathers teach your boys to walk away. What do you think it is? Is a party? Is a football game that the stadium is filled? No, it's not as you think. According to the American Psychological Association, stereotypes of masculinity can have a negative effect on young boys and men because they can stigmatize normal human emotions. And if a man feels stigmatized about what is happening to him, it is very likely they might not want to report the abuse or talk about ways of dealing with it. And because there are no talking, the emotions are building up on the inside. And when I said men are in danger, this is what I mean. They are pulling back, they are withdrawing, they are becoming less and less involved. The only place where they are fed off is in the prisons. But every other department, they are dwindling in numbers. And women are getting the upper hand. Now in America, female footballers are being paid the same as male footballers. And to them, that is equity. It's not. It's not. There are more men will show up to watch men football than women football. And I am going to go into that before you all want to kill me this morning. But feeling angry, scared, or sad are normal emotions for all people. When dealing with abuse, regardless of sex or sexual orientation, and they don't have to take it as the media will want you to believe, or some folks will want you to believe. He can't take it, then he's not a man. But they won't say anything for the woman who cannot take it. She is reporting abuse, and rightly so, with the first slap. But they wouldn't say, oh, well, one slap. No. She has a right to do it. But if the woman slapped that man once and he reports she slapped me, and he say, well, what she did? She hit my slap. What do you mean she slapped me? That is not gender-based violence as far as the community, the world is concerned. So a man take that, and he take 2, and he takes 3, and then he starts to take a beating every day. But he will not report it because, and friend, don't tell me, don't sit down there, some of you, I know I have a friend there, Bob, she's looking at this and she said, is he crazy? No, I'm not crazy. I'm saying that let us have an equal playing field as far as abuse is concerned. And lastly, men don't have access to the kind of resources that women have. While there seem to be more resources now than many years ago, men internalize this reality, and it's not a universal principle. Epistemology comes from those lived experiences. What is around them? What is their reality? And in men's reality, there is no grouping I cannot go to. Where can I go with someone not laughing at me? What shall I do? So that the man's world, when he is in an abusive situation, and sometimes to the horror, he acts in his own isolation. He's traumatized. He becomes a different person. And sometimes the problem we have in this society is that men has been emaciated to the point where they hide themselves and become different. You know, I want to go to one more myth before we move. Men who are gay or bisexual will bring shame to the LGBTQ community if they report they are victim of abuse. And friends, I got that from my own study, where I spoke to them on a one-on-one basis. It is already hard enough dealing with abuse when you are a heterosexual person. But for gay or trans men, this can be even more difficult. You see, the LGBTQ plus contacts that reporting abuse is same-sex or trans relationship will bring shame to their community because it will create more stereotypes, misinformation, and also become some of them feel that that's by saying that they are drawing attention, negative attention to the community. You know, Audre Lorde famously coined, silence will not protect you, regardless of what your sexual orientation is. It's always worth talking about, and it's always worth leaving when that violence comes. But these things are easily said than done.
Pastor, as you would have outlined a few of these myths, right?
That you believe. That you believe. Yes.
My question to that is, how do we combat these myths when dealing with men affected by abuse and domestic violence?
First to begin, always believe the victims or the survivors. One of the most important, compassionate things that we can do to support male victims of abuse and domestic violence is to simply believe when the man tells you that. Don't ask him, so where do she? What you do she? Don't go down that road at all. Always believe that this is a genuine complaint. It's worth repeating, eh? Do not judge, do not criticize, and listen without questioning the victim's experience. It's already bad. For they to come to you, they would have built up all sorts of things in their mind to decide, I'm going I'm going to talk to him. I'm going. I remember a young lady came to my office, and she came, she talked, she stood there, but talk wasn't going anywhere. And I recognized that she came to say something to me. But when she came in there, everything disappeared. She couldn't do it. So she was engrossed into all kind of small talk because she couldn't say what she came for. And always remember that. The person, if you find the person is meandering and they are not coming to anything, it's because they came to you for something. I remember saying to her, say what you came to me for, because I'm leaving here in a little while. So say no. Don't worry about anything. The spirit that told you to come to me, that spirit is still here with you. So say what you came to me about. And that's how I got her to start speaking. So sometimes when they come to you, it's because they have jumped so many fences, so many hurdles, so many things they have done to arrive at you. And when they get there, all the premonitions that kept them away in the first place is again working with them. So you got to be a good listener and a good observer. And that's what sociology is about. Observe. They say the three watchword. You observe, you interpret, and then you validate. You observe what is happening here. Why is she here? Nothing he or she said to me that make any sense. Then there's something they are here about that they don't want to talk about. Although they came to talk about it, they don't want to talk about it. It's already hard enough for them to reach out for help. When you're a man, it's hard. So if you find that a male victim wants to share the experience or the experiences with you, don't be quick to judge and assume. Allow them to speak, because this must be the last time they are going to do what they are doing.
Thanks, Pastor. You mentioned something a bit earlier in terms of, after one slap, they may report abuse. But then that brings the question then, what exactly is abuse? So I want to ask then, what or how much or how long does ill treatment have to go on for it to arrive at the place of abuse?
Nice. Candice, this is the question of the year. You see, one slap, I do something and the female get up at me, one slap. I run on the police. Say she abusing me. Now, what do I expect the police to do? Go up and arrest her and go to court, and then the magistrate say, explain what has happened to you. And well, I throw down, she had something on the table and I knock it down, but it was an accident. And she hit me a slap. The magistrate waiting for more, eh? He waited to hear when the gun came out or the cutlass came out. He's waiting to hear more. He, nowhere in his mind, he will be thinking that you are here because you got a slap. Because it doesn't seem logical. So it starts from there. But as I'm saying, you need to begin a documentation. You document the abuse. You look for patterns. The person might say, well, I did that so and so and so and so. Depend on the love. And I want to say people stay in relationship based on how much they value the relationship. If I burn down your house, you want me to go to court, you want them to strip me, you want me to pay you back. If your son or your husband burn down the house, you are quicker able to renegotiate and bring that relationship back because of the value you hold on that relationship. The value of the relationship will determine how you respond to things like abuse. But it must be documented. You must be documented and look for patterns. This is a great way. Not only keep track of the situation, but also materialize the abuse. See if this person have a problem that don't mean putting away, but need to get help for. See if it's an anger problem. See if this person just been socialized the wrong way, and this is the way they handle things. So it comes through documentation. But if you feel that this slap was a slap that no, without the documentation, without looking for the reality of the situation, you believe this was totally out of place, if he remind you of something that they may have done without slapping, and you do that documentation. I would have said that before. You document all anger responses, the stoops, the slamming of the door. Look for patterns in the behavior. Look for, if every time I do this, this happens. Or this happens all the time. Everything happens. So you are documenting what is happening. There are several ways you can document the abuse, Take pictures of yourself if you have physical cuts. But I'm telling you, if you're having physical cuts, you have no reason to be in that same space. But let's say you stayed because you have a certain value for this relationship. You ought to document what is happening. You see, documenting what is happening will help you to see the progression and help you to understand who really needs help here, me or him, or both of us. You understand? It can be the catalyst, to dealing with the negative behavior. It could be what you need. So when you go to the counselor, when you go to the police, it could be something that you have that they can see, that you can see. And when that is done, then you know I am in a way here. Yes, this is domestic abuse. Men must understand that because men tend to brush off these things. These things are not things that we brushed off. I know a friend whose wife poured hot oil on him while he was sleeping, Can you imagine that? You boiling this oil and this oil is bubbling, and then you take this oil and you pour it over a human being. These things do happen. These things do happen. And that's why you document the experiences, because when you document the experiences, one day you are reading from it. When he stoops, when he slammed the door, when he got angry, when he didn't come home for a whole 7-8 hours, you'll be able to see patterns. I'm talking you purely as a sociologist now. You'll be able to see patterns. And those patterns will be able to tell you the big one is coming. If the patterns are erratic, is not following the same sequence, but then you know he has a problem. Because we don't believe there are things like moods, The psychologists tell about moods. We don't believe that. We believe you are, as this guy, I remember his name just now, said that human behavior is scientific. I am trained to behave in a certain way. And that's how I behave all the time. When I'm frightened, I behave that way. When I'm hungry, I behave that way. When I'm happy, we are trained. We don't jump and behave so one day and behave so one day. Anytime you find someone doing that, they need help. Might be psychological help, but it could be medical help. The person could be bipolar. The person could be heading down a road that you will not want to see after a while. So these are the things. Go ahead.
Pastor, with that being said, I want
You're going to moods too? What are you mad? You got to have some medication. You got to give you. There's nothing like moods.
I have my moments, right?
You're bipolar. We need to help you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
On the topic, right? We know that women have social systems, especially when they're dealing with anything, almost anything, right?
Yeah.
So my question to everything that was said is, do men have social systems like women in abusive relationships? Do they have people they could go to, vent to, rely on?
No, very few. I see fees trying something with the men's thing, fine. They may have pockets of that all over the world, but on a sustained basis, that's how women have a sustained thing that they can do all the time. Men don't. And because the systems do not allow for men those opportunities, hence I'm saying that men are in danger. Because there is a good, perhaps there's a good friend, all men who listen to me right now, or co-worker, your doctor, your pastor. But make sure the person is not a gossiper. I don't know why when pastor came to me, gossip came to me, I don't know why. But make sure he is not a gossiper. You can confide in when talking about what you are experiencing. Having a strong support system could be the key to get through difficult times. You don't have to slave. You don't have to slave everything to that person. But there are times when you need someone just to talk to. Just to talk to. One night I was speaking to a guy, he wanted to kill himself. He was a homosexual. And while I'm talking to him all 1 in the morning, I fell asleep while he on the phone. And when I got up 3, 4 in the morning, I said, God, I hope this man didn't kill himself. So I called him and I told him, I said, boy, I was so tired, you know, you talking to me and I fell asleep. Or I'm sorry about that. He said he understood. He said he spoke to me without I answering for more than half an hour. He said, but he was able to say everything that was on his chest. And by him speaking, he was able to reason with himself. And he said, Pastor, I'm feeling much better now. So sometimes you're a man, you just need someone to talk to. Sometimes you just need to talk about your experiences. You don't really need someone to come by and say, well, you need to do this or that. You don't really need that. Take a proactive approach to your own safety. Keep your mental, emotional, and physical sanity in check are the great ways to remain grounded during and after these situations. Perhaps you like to play video games, you like to look at football like me, or listen gospel music, or I listen to all kind of music like me. You just turn on the tube, lay down, and listen. That was how David dealt with it, you know. You know that. I mean, Saul, he called David, and David played the harp, and Saul was relaxed after that. And if there are men groups in the area, reach out to them, especially religious ones. You can call the churches in your area, and some may help, and just call around. I think that's it. That's it. Okay.
Thanks,
Yes.
Pastor.
Yeah.
I see that we're winding down. We're almost at the end of our time. So I guess the last question for this morning would be then, having said all that we said, is there a biblical response or a theological teaching on this issue of gender-based violence?
Yes. Men back in the old days. You ever ask yourself, David, Joseph and Potiphar's wife. She came onto Joseph and she grabbed Joseph's garment and Joseph ran away. The story remained about Joseph, how he was able in the prime of youth, how he was able to withstand the alluring advances of Potiphar's wife. If it was the opposite, if it was Josephina and Potiphar, and he came after her, and he grabbed her garment, and she ran away, the talk would have been on Potiphar. This big hardback man going after this little girl thing in there. And then he should be shot. He should be castrated. This man. But you know, nobody went after Potiphar's wife. They spoke about Joseph only. The Romans had little boys, young boys, who they used to keep as slaves. And these boys, that's where pederasty come from. They used to keep them as slaves, the Marocae, and they used to interfere with them. It was not an issue. Oh, I want to say, friend, it is an issue. I want to say that men has always been, even in the Bible time, had been under the gun without anybody paying attention to men pain and men trials. And it's happening more so now. The only time they pay attention to men now is when they shoot up the place, when they rob, when they're into gangsterism. But the daily struggles and strife that men go through is not recorded. It is not embraced. And when we speak about them, we say they should go and look for a work. They want to do no work. They're lazy. They're bad. We should take the parents to court. That's how we treat with men's issue. We will pick this up again because we are far out of time. We will pick this up again. But these are the issues, Akira, Candice, that we face as men on a daily basis. So until we meet again, it was great having you all this morning. I want to thank you all tremendously. I go back over some videos that I did by myself, and I see when you all interject, how much more I explain and how much easier it is to make people understand. So you all are doing a good job. You are doing an excellent job. And Candace, I really enjoyed yesterday. Trust me.
Yes,
I
glad
don't
to hear
know.
that, Pastor.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. They served very little food, but that was all right.
I'll let them know for next time.
that was okay. So until we meet again, ladies, bless you. I think they have cut us off already up the road. So bless you. I want both of you to take the program though. I'm gonna just come off YouTube.